look beautiful.
Hey, this is Edna White, and this is our break free moment. So, I've been on this challenge, the 30-day challenge to break free. So, we're actually going to be talking today about money, manifesting, and madness with none other than my friend, who is a poet of the spoken and written word. And she's also an author and she's an artist, which I'm going to just move my little thing over. I think you guys have seen it before. But that is her. That's our art right there in my little corner. So I just wanted her to come on today because we have the most amazing conversations. So I'm just gonna let her introduce herself to you, and then we'll get started on what we're gonna talk about today.
Yes. Thank you so much. Good morning, Edna. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome.
thank you, listening audience, for viewing. My name is Liselle Powder. And as she said, yes, I am a poet. I'm spoken word. I'm an artist. And my journey has been it started around 2019, and just getting that vision to move and to create, and it hasn't stopped. Edna has been with me for years, and she's my coach, and she has come up with so much ideas. We have laughed, talked, worked together, and
We
it's
constantly
tremendous.
laugh.
Yes, we're always
We
laughing at
constantly laugh.
something. So I'm so glad that this morning we just hit on the same idea, and it just, say, okay, let's do a live for this, because,
Yeah,
we both were thinking about the same thing at the same
yeah.
time.
And we both, we were thinking about it, but we're having such a great conversation that I know that plenty of people would love to hear about. And it comes in line with my vision for in the company of my sisters, and how we have these just organic conversations about so many beautiful things. And so today we were talking about money, and how we were manifesting, and how to bring that into fruition for your life. And so both of us, we were having some challenges.
Mm.
So I think we talked about in the beginning acknowledging our challenges, right? We acknowledge that
Yes.
what the
Yeah.
challenges were, and sometimes it's generational. What do you think? What is your challenge, with around finances?
Well, that's the thing with me, finance, and trying to get a grip and a start to put your foot in, to get the
Yeah.
stuff, the necessary tools and equipment to get things going, because
Hmm.
sometimes you have a project that you want to work, that you may have to work on, and
Right.
the finance may not be there,
Right.
but
Right.
it happens not often, but sometimes it's just a kind of setback. It can be a
Right.
little setback,
Sure.
to get started on the right foot, but you just keep persevering, you just keep pushing, you don't give up, you just create in some form or fashion, keep manifesting that the
Right.
finance will come, it
Right.
will happen, it will produce itself. You never know where it will come from. So
Yeah.
you don't give up on your projects, you don't give up on what you're working on, but you just be
Hmm.
consistent to the dream and the vision that you have.
Right. And that's like really great, for us as, adults,
Yes.
and where we come from. I think a lot of times when it has to do with money, it's a generational thing. It's how we
Yes.
saw our parents, our
Yes.
caregivers, how we saw them execute, you know,
Yes.
the financial part. Now, they never taught us,
Exactly.
about checks and credit and where
Exactly.
cash come from. They never taught us
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
right? We just saw it, go from hand to hand, whatever. But then we become adults, we kind of repeat those patterns. And
Yep.
so what I was asking was, where do you think your challenge comes from? Where, so in order to know where you're going, you got to know where it came from. You just
Yeah.
can't, like, think yourself out of it if it's like really there. And it's like, and I know money trauma, money roots, money issues, they're there. Like, and it's like a
Yes.
dandelion. When you cut the lawn, you could cut the dandelion down, but guess what? The root is there.
Yeah.
So
But
you
I
have to
guess
uproot it. You have to uproot it. Go ahead.
it is a generation, as you speak about that, because I remember my mother, um, she didn't work. Well,
Right.
what should I say? She did work, but the work she did was like washing clothes for people. I
Right,
remember
right, right,
going with her.
right,
So,
right.
and even though she was disabled, she had a stroke. So her, I think it was her right side was half
Mm-hmm.
paralyzed. So she
Right.
sort of like walk and drag. And I saw her washed, I saw her iron, I saw her cook food with just one hand. She
Mm-hmm.
never, I
Complained
can't, to
about
tell you the
anything?
honest truth, to tell you the honest truth, I didn't even know where she kept her money, or if she ever got money, or if she ever had. I'm not sure
Right,
because
right.
I, my father used to bring the food. He used to bring the food for us. He used to buy the food, and every evening he will come and drop off the food. I remember that.
Yeah,
But to see her having money in her hand, I cannot recall if I ever saw her like getting money or doing
yeah,
so. The idea of taking care of three children, me and my two
yeah.
brothers, it was tough for her, but she
Oh,
never
yeah,
come. To me, like I never saw her complain. She did it even though she
absolutely.
was sick, even though she had the stroke. She
Right.
took care of us still. And
And
as
and
I
that come
grew up,
and that made you think, and I know that made me think when my mom was sick too. Is on the
yes,
other hand of that is that strong woman perception that we got.
yes,
Oh my gosh, it almost killed
yes,
me. I thought
yeah.
that that was the way we're supposed to be, right? We're
This is
supposed to be
it
strong all the time,
all the
and
time.
but don't cry, don't get emotional, don't get overwhelmed because that's not what us melanin women do. Us
Exactly.
with brown skin don't do that. You can't do that. And
Exactly.
I'm gonna tell you that strong woman syndrome almost killed me. It really
Yeah.
did. It because I wasn't asking for help and I wasn't going to the doctor.
Exactly.
I wasn't going to the therapist.
Exactly.
And I was suffering. I was
I
miserable.
was, oh my gosh. I was the
Yeah.
same way too. I was the same way too because I was like, when I was pregnant with my first daughter, I got a part-time job and it was
Yeah.
difficult because you
Yeah.
didn't have next to nothing as a salary and you're expecting a baby and it's like, wow, it
Yeah.
was
It's heavy.
overwhelming. And the pattern just continued where the money was never enough to take care of my children. The money
Hmm.
was, it was really tough. It was like a battling. I went through postpartum. I was crying all the time because
Yeah.
I needed a way out. I couldn't deal with it. So I said to myself, and there I see myself in the same fighting struggle to get
Yeah.
money, to get a job, to work, to keep your head above water, to pay the bills and this and that. And you want to get out of it. You want to get out of that, struggle of
Right.
lacking. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So it's like a generational thing that needs to be broken. It needs to stop right here. It needs
Well,
to
it
end.
needs to be uprooted. It needs to
Uprooted.
uproot
Yes,
it. Yeah,
exactly. Uprooted
because
because
the
we
thing
don't
that we
want that
don't
passed
do,
down. Yeah.
right, we don't want to pass down. And the thing that
Yeah.
we don't do, and here's the key, because I see this with my clients, I see it with me. You don't admit anything. We don't admit anything. Like, oh,
Exactly.
it's just so peachy keen. I got the Brady Bunch family with the white picket fence, and inside
Yeah.
is the house of horrors. It's horrible. It's the house of
Yes.
horrors. It's the house of
Exactly.
horrors. And
Yeah.
then you're just like, not, you know, um, getting the best you out of it. Your
Exactly.
surroundings are miserable. You're overwhelmed. You're
Yep.
crying. All of those things.
Yep.
And if we just admit there's a problem,
Yep.
I have a
Yes, there
problem.
is. There
I,
is.
I
There
I
is.
have this issue here that I have
Yeah.
to fix.
That it has to
You,
fix. It has to fix.
yes, if it's
But
about
some people
money,
don't really want to admit that there is a
right?
problem and it needs a fix. They tend to swallow up
Exactly.
into the sorrow, into the pain, and they are
Right.
not fixing it. And when
Right.
they find
I don't
themselves
think it needs to be
overwhelmed,
fixed. I don't like the word fixed because that means it. But I think what it needs to do is I don't think it needs to be fixed, sis. And I'll tell you why. I think what it needs to do is it's just like if something presented to you.
reconstruct.
Yeah, yes. How do we deal with this?
Yeah,
Now I see this growing here. It's like a seed. Now I see this growing here. How do I work with this? How do I make this
exactly.
better? How
Mm-hmm.
do I make this
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
if it's like I said in the beginning, if it's like you got a nice, beautiful lawn, right? And in
Yeah.
the middle is this dandelion that won't go away,
Wait.
right? It won't go away.
Exactly.
What you gotta do is gotta
Exactly.
pull it up by the root. You know,
Yes.
I pull it up from the root, go in that hole, and make sure everything's out of there. So what happens when you do that is, why am I like this? X, the best questions to X is, why am I like this? Why do I keep repeating that money pattern? Why do I
Yes.
keep repeating that same money pattern?
Exactly.
It may be strong in the beginning, but then later on it might be very subtle. Like, you be at a job that you hate.
Exactly.
You hate it.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
toxic, right? But
It's
you don't.
oh
You sit and, yeah, I don't know what to do next. You know,
yeah.
you're in a situation where you're not really moving. And you're not
Exactly. You're
moving.
just stagnant. You're just
You're
there.
just staying there.
Just there.
I
And
know
it's
that that's
like,
what happened with me
what
with my
next?
last job. Yeah, what
Hmm.
next? But there, what next happens to be actions. Like, now we got to start taking
Right. You take that
actions.
step.
I got to take that step, and I gotta apply for other jobs, or I got to get out. I got to find a way to escape.
Yes.
I got to put
But
together a plan.
that journey with the finance too,
Hmm.
sometimes you might depend on people who you thought that would be there to be your backup to help you,
Right,
and they are not.
right,
That could be
right.
another thing too.
Yeah,
So you have to try not to be so dependent,
right. And
on
yeah,
others.
hmm, yeah,
It's like how, like, recently I said to a friend of mine, I said,
uh
I
huh,
have to stop seeing me in people. I think you told me that, as
yeah,
somebody, you
hmm,
told me, stop seeing myself in people. And most of the time
yeah.
I was doing that,
Yeah, you're expecting
and you
people to
expect
kind of
so
be
much.
like you. Yeah, be
Yeah,
like
and
you.
you expect them to be like you, and they cannot be like you. And when you get hurt and disappointed, you're like, what the hell just happened here? Because they see how you are, and they use that to
Exactly,
bring you down,
exactly.
to trample on you, to throw words at
Hmm.
you, and you're like, what the hell
I
just
wouldn't have
happened
done
here?
that. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
done that,
yeah.
but they're not
And
you.
it comes just like the finance part too.
Yeah,
You may have family, and for family who you're thinking that will be there to back you up, and instead they see you
they're not.
fighting, they see you struggling, and they need of saying, well, here, hold this, hold up. No, they're not doing that. So you
Yeah,
have to swim your way out.
yeah. They can't see that. That it's not a priority for
For
them.
them, exactly.
For
So you
them,
have
it's
to
not a
figure it out.
priority. Although they may have been a priority to you. You're
Hmm.
not a priority to them.
This is
And
it. So
yeah,
you got to make yourself the
you got to
priority.
and that's where
You
wealth
got to
building
make
comes in.
yourself the priority.
But that's where wealth building comes in, because I know when
Exactly.
I was at the job that I loved in the beginning, but started to hate because it was very toxic, and it started to reveal that it was very toxic for me.
Yeah.
I started making ways. Okay, I'm going to put this money here, put this money here, do that, do this, do this. So I was making ways to kind of get out of it, like navigate my way out of it. But I was
Yeah.
actually putting money away. Okay, I'm gonna, And here's the thing: when I was thinking about this, and I met this guy, this guy. He was Afrocentric professor, and I
Hmm.
met him, and we were going to the groundbreaking for an apartment complex that was in Belport, and we were going
Yeah.
there, and it hadn't even been done yet, and
Yeah.
so we were going there, and I was planning my escape at this time. He had no idea, and
Hmm.
so he's talking to me, and so he says, "Here, I'll give you this calendar," and I
Hmm.
said, "Oh, thank you." And she says, "Yeah, this is the last one I got, but here you can have it." I said, "Okay." So we started talking about wealth and building and all of that stuff. He didn't even know, had no clue that I was planning the escape 2 years prior to me leaving. And
Hmm.
so he says, "You know, you may not think," we weren't talking about money or nothing. We're just talking in general. He said, you might think you can't save anything." He says, people always say that, just like they say there's not enough time in the day and everybody's got the same 24 hours. And I started laughing. So he says, "Look at this." He opens the calendar up. It says save $3. He said, a day. Put $3 a day away. He said, "Yeah, I know you're going to say, this is what you're going to say. I can't do that." He says, "You spend $3 on coffee, but just try this." So I said, "Okay." So he started me on this, and I would literally drink coffee at home and put the $3 in the container. And by the time I finished, I was like, "Holy mackerel! All this money for 1 month!" And that's what started. It jump started my saving. My okay, got to put this here, and I started investing in different avenues. But it starts to open up avenues, and we need to
Broaden our minds.
yeah, we need to broaden it. That's the concept, is broaden our minds
Yeah.
to the fact
Hmm.
there's resources out there. There's ways
Yeah.
to escape situations or ways to make things happen. We're just
Exactly. Yeah.
we're waiting for something to drop out of the sky,
Yeah.
waiting for it to
Yeah.
like, "Oh, where is it? Where's the
Forever.
time?"
You'll be waiting forever.
Well, you're right. You'll be waiting forever. Right.
Yeah. So you got to put the action
The
plan
action
into
into
motion.
it.
Yeah.
Into it.
So that same idea you talk about, I saw on TikTok where I don't know how true, but it's this savings book,
Yeah.
and each page have the amount of money you're going to save. So it have five, it have 10, it have 20, and you just
Right.
stick the
Right.
money in there, and you are writing down and crossing out. Once you
Hmm.
put anything, you cross it out. And I said, you know what? So before you said that I saw it over the weekend or early this week, and I said to myself, that's not a bad idea.
Hmm.
As I get paid, take out something. Forget it. Just forget it. Even
That's
if
right.
you
That's
run
how I
short
did
on
it.
transportation, forget
That's
it.
it. Forget
Don't
it. And that's how I
forget
did
it.
it. That's exactly how I did
Yeah,
it.
you had
Is
to
I
forget it.
forgot it. Like I just put it away. Or what I did is I said one thing I did do is I set it up in my bank account. I mean on my check that it'll come out and I won't see
Yeah.
it. So I
Yes.
couldn't think about it. I couldn't
Yes.
think about it. No matter how big
Yes.
or small it was, I didn't think about it. And so then when I did create that exit plan, when I went to the account, I was like, holy smokes,
Yeah.
this is how much I saved up. But there's a way that you could do it. Like this,
Yeah.
if you have the mind, if you're willing to shift your mindset and understand what your unconscious thoughts and your subconscious thoughts are about this around
Yeah.
money, and be
Yeah.
honest with yourself and say, hey, this is going to be this is a problem for me as an adult, that
Yeah.
I don't know how to balance my books. This is a problem for me when I go out and what's it called, and have shopping therapy because
Yeah.
I'm mad or I'm upset. I go and shop and buy stuff
Shop, shop.
and then go buy stuff and be like, now what I'm going to do with all this stuff,
Exactly. Just
right?
like some people eat. Eat, eat, eat.
Yeah,
They
well,
get mad.
same thing. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same concept. It's emotional,
Yeah.
eating emotional, buying, it's all emotional. And when you
Emotional, of course.
understand
Yeah.
that behind your money troubles are emotions that make you move,
Yeah.
you'll be like, wow, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
makes sense. If you have it, we always talk about alcoholics,
Mm-hmm.
and because they're the ones that could pick on. Okay, let me just. I'm not picking on you, alcoholics. I'm not. I'm really not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they okay. So when they're having a bad day, they come home, or they go out to happy hour, or they go to a liquor store on the way to work
Yes.
because it
And
was
they
a hard day,
drink and
bad day,
stuff.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Same things with people who eat right after
Yes.
work.
Yes.
Instead of going home,
Mm-hmm.
drinking some water and then going home and cooking a good four square
Four
meal
course meal.
dinner, four course, but not
Yeah.
four course. I ain't going that far. You might.
Exactly. But that some people will go to the extreme.
Yeah, but you might. But just have a well balanced meal,
Something.
right?
Yes.
You'll
Exactly.
stop at the
Exactly.
fast food joint, right? Knowing that's no good for you, and you
Exactly.
eat an
Exactly.
extravagant meal that you're a few hours later hungry again, and you got no nutritional value out of that. But it's emotional eating.
Yes.
When you go to the store and you go, whether you're going grocery shopping or clothes shopping, you're emotionally doing it. I had a bad day today. I got to reward myself. Well, what's the reward when you put it on your credit card?
Yes.
What's the
This is
reward? Right?
exactly.
What's the reward when you use all your
The
cash up
bill
and
at the
need gas?
exit.
What's the
The bill.
reward?
The credit card company calling you.
Yes. What's the reward? Come on, let's way up. Like, really, what's the reward? So we're doing the same exact things as we would say in alcoholics. We're just, we don't use alcohol. We use, shopping or eating, even exercising to the point. Sometimes people do
Exactly.
too much, and
Yep.
then because my son, he's a fanatic with not a fanatic, but he knows how to exercise, and
Mm-hmm.
we created an app together. The app is to remind you how to. It's for children and seniors to remind them to do their exercises. Very
Yep.
simple app. And so he says to me, "When you exercise, mom, you're not supposed to exercise every day."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" He's like, "No, because then your body will build up intolerance to it, and then so it's just like with anything else. You have to do it intensively one day, take a rest, let your muscles go back to where they were, and then go start the next day," which makes sense, right?
Yep.
But some people do it every day, over excessively. And I remember seeing this woman when I first moved here. She was, to my eyes, she was thin as a rail, and she was jogging, and I'm going, what is she jogging for? Like, it was just like, and she couldn't
Exactly.
hardly pick her feet up. And I was like, is anybody telling her it's okay to take a rest? Because every time I
Yeah.
would see her, she would be just, and I knew that her body couldn't, she had no even muscle on her body. And I'm going,
Oh,
this is bad.
yeah.
But even exercise, anything in excess is error. That's what I'm going to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
error.
Yeah.
So we're talking
Just
about money.
within moderation. Yeah.
Yeah, in
Moderation.
moderation, in moderation.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump over to manifesting. So you can start this part off. Start that off. You start the manifesting part off.
Okay. To me, when you say manifest, I feel manifest could mean you speaking it into being,
Okay.
you believing, you writing it down, all right, you have a plan, you have an idea of how you're going about doing things, how you're going about getting things done, but you keep manifesting it in a positive light, either keep
Mm-hmm.
working towards it, saying it, you make that your affirmation, you make that your goal, you make that your
Yeah.
go-to, as they call it,
Mm-hmm.
and you run with it. You
Sure.
run with it. You run with it, and you don't you stay focused on that part.
Yeah.
You stay
Yeah.
focused.
You stay focused on it, and sometimes it gets hard. And I
It's
want to say
hard
that.
because
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
there is
very hard.
always something coming to
Life
distract
is
you.
always getting in the way. Oh, life is
Yeah.
always
Yeah,
getting
let the
in the
children come,
way.
the job,
Getting
the
in the
phone
way. Yeah.
call, the this,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think manifesting too is more or less, and I'll give you an example. When I got my car, right? When
Yeah.
I wanted this particular car, and I had to see it, visualize it, and what I know exactly what I wanted. So, because you can want any car, you can
Yeah.
want any car you want. And I remember saying this, and I said it to the universe. I want a car. Well, girl, I got this car, no doors. Somebody gave me a car, no doors. It was a Jeep, but it ran. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. It wasn't what I wanted, but the universe reminded me, you asked for a car. Somebody gave me a car, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this car don't got no doors. It was a Jeep. It was a CJ Jeep, and I was like, oh gosh, this is not what I really wanted. I wanted a car. Yes, I wanted four wheels and it's
Yeah.
drivable, but I need doors because I have three kids plus my nieces and nephews that I kind of drive around with.
Yeah.
So that taught me to be very, very specific when I manifest.
Yeah.
So this car that I have now, and all my learning that I'm involved with now, this car that I have now was during the pandemic, and I was looking through the magazine and I saw it. This is what I want. I want this exact color. I want this. I want this exact year because I like all the things, bells and whistles that went with it. So I cut it out and I start searching. So behind that, you got to start getting things in action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking, and I went and I looked at something. It was similar to the one I wanted. It was in Riverhead. I was like, oh, that's nice, but it wasn't the exact one that I wanted. Then I went to another spot in Medford, and it was exactly what I wanted. I said, this is the car I want. So what did I do? Called them up, went down, drove it around, did all the necessary things, talked about it with the guy, whatever. And he had told me the price, and I said, I don't want to pay that. So he's like, what? I said, no, I don't want to pay that. So I knew what I wanted to pay, and I didn't even tell him what I wanted to pay. So I had the money, and I said, okay, I'm going to go to the bank and check and see how much I got. But this is what I don't want to pay. So we went back, and so I had most of it in cash. So I said, this is how much I want to pay, and I wanted it. And he's like, the value is 14,000. I said, yeah, but this is how much I want to pay. And so he says, I got to call the manager. I said, oh, okay, call him. I said, but this is what I got on me right now, and I'm going out the door. So he said, no, wait. And I said, wait, isn't your name Dave? He said, yeah. I said, well, it says there you're the regional manager. So who you got to call? So
oh my God.
He started laughing. He says, oh, you're
on
very
point.
astute. Yes, he said, you're very astute. I said, yeah. So we're going to do this deal or not? Okay. So we agreed on the price. And I said, just don't agree with me. Write it down. So he was like, okay. We wrote the price down. Then I said, okay, I want to build my credit. So here's 5,000 and bill out the other, the other amount. It was only 3,000 more. He said, and I said, I don't want my interest rate to be no more than this, and I don't want my payment to be more than this. And he looked at me. He says, wow, you got this all figured out. I said, of course I do. So got exactly what we wanted. My payments were like $100, and then I ended up paying it off early. I got some, sold a couple houses, and I paid it off early. So nice. He was like, wow, you really. But it's just that manifesting is just that.
Exactly. It's visualizing,
seeing, feeling, and feeling it, and being emotional.
Like,
how would I feel
if
I had this car? Right. Yes. Right.
A
like
nice
how would I feel?
Yes. You want to eat. So.
Yes. Food. How would you feel about that food? How would you feel tasting it? What would change? What would be different?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like the most poignant manifesting to me, and I started thinking about, and some of you guys some of your Bible believers out there, and story readers, historians, theologians. There's a story about Noah that God was giving him instruction on how to build this ark. He gave him all specific directions. I mean, to the T, what type of wood, how big it's supposed to be, what's supposed to go on the inside, what's supposed to go on the outside, what's supposed to go on the top. And he did it per instruction. The same thing with us when we're manifesting is per instruction. What do you want? You gotta verbalize that, and know what it is. You can't be ambiguous.
Yeah. Manifest, like be like your prayer, your food, your everything, that you want. It's like a burning desire that needs to be shown, that needs to be seen, that needs to be like the Hunger Games.
And you gotta know your why. And the thing is, you gotta know your why too. Your why can't be because the Joneses have it.
Yeah,
it can't be.
Exactly. It cannot be.
It can't be that. Or show. I want this car because I want to show off.
Exactly.
And you might get the car, but you might not be comfortable getting. It might be keeping it. You might not be comfortable in keeping it. Let's say that. Your why really has to be important. Like, why are you doing this? Not that something frivolous. So make sure that it's really, you're looking into that, what you want and why you want it, and be certain why you want it, so you can keep it, and be a great steward over it.
Yeah, because if you have the wrong perspective, it's gonna just it's not gonna come.
It's gonna come, but guess what's gonna happen?
In the wrong way.
It's gonna be very hard to keep.
It's
gonna be very hard to keep. And and make sure you take care of it. Like you
Of
asked for it, take care
course.
of
Of
it.
course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, take care of it. I
Yeah.
mean, be a good steward over it. That's a
Yes.
really important thing. Anything that you get, anything that has an opportunity connected to it, make sure there's a
Yeah.
that you're being responsible about it.
Mm-hmm.
Taking care of
Mm-hmm.
it. That's what's really important.
Yes.
Your status. If you're given a status that like for me, with as a president of a chamber or a chairperson or executive chair of an organization, I got to make
Yeah.
sure that I'm a good steward over that. I can't be abusing it
Mm-hmm.
around town.
Exactly.
Around,
Yeah.
I can't do that. You can't do
Yeah.
that when you have a title at work. You can't abuse it around town. You got to
Yes.
make sure you're upholding it and using it to the betterment of the
Of
community of
course. Yeah.
every
Yeah.
and be a good steward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Right, yeah. So that's our madness today, guys. We have had some madness. I want
That's
to tell you our stories, and this is what we talk about mostly all the time when we get on
yeah.
the phone. We're on the phone
Laugh,
together.
laugh, and just talk about just pelt out ideas to each other.
Yeah.
And it's so I say, wow, look how this connection came between I. It's so funny, but
Hmm.
sometimes when you're on a journey and you're walking this journey, you somehow connect with the people that is not on that same journey and that same mindset and that same page. So it tends to entwine to what your belief is and where you're going.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know.
So,
So
good people, we've been on for 31 minutes, and we just want to say thank you for listening because you hung out with
thank you
us.
so
Thank
much.
you, YouTubers. Hey, y'all, everybody. If I didn't say your name, and I'm going to go on the comments later on and reply back to you. But thank you for watching because you didn't have to, but you did. And you did say hello. So I like the fact that you're saying hello to me and
Yes.
my guest, Liselle Powder. And we're going to say bye for now. We're going to get out of here and
Yes.
keep this Saturday moving. All right. So see you
Okay
guys
then.
next time. All right.
Next
Bye now.
time. Bye for now.